Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I'm David Allen, or if you'd like, you call me Super Dave 817. Thank you for everybody in the chat for joining us today. We are talking about number 70, Shipwreck. This is going to be a really good video because there's a lot of people that love Shipwreck. And good morning, Crusty Old Crow. Thank you for joining us today. So as I was saying, Shipwreck is a big character. He has a lot of people that love him. Michael Gene Fleming, good morning. How are you today? Thank you. He's a big character. I was not too fond of this when I heard that they were doing it pretty much a vintage style Shipwreck, almost one for one scale. I just thought, we should have gotten maybe the 2000s, the new sculpt era Shipwreck. It's very dated. People don't dress like this in our modern Navy anymore, and so I just never cared for this visual. In the 80s, it was perfectly fine. He was a sailor and stuff like that, and he was I think out of the Navy at the time. Shipwreck was, when he appeared in Sunbow and he joined G.I. Joe. But I don't know, I always had a problem with this visual of this character, and I know there's a lot of people that love Shipwreck, and I love him too. I just don't like this visual for Shipwreck. I think they should have definitely upgraded him for more of a classified type style. But we're going to go through them, and we're going to discuss the history of Shipwreck right now. And first off, we're going to go to Dan Klingensmith's series of books, Creating the History of G.I. Joe, number 1, volume 1. And Shipwreck is in there. Michael Gene Fleming, that 2000s, sure, and watched Cap. That? The pullover and watch cap version is a far better design. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. With the beanie cap and the more like a naval, like shoreman type look, or whatever you want to call it. I think that's a much better look for Shipwreck, but that's just me. Not everybody's going to agree with me, so there you go. So again, back to this. Creating G.I. Joe, the Real American Hero, the History, by Dan Klingensmith, Volume 1. So let's get to Shipwreck. Here we go. There's Shipwreck, and there's a bunch of turnarounds and ideations and design aspects to Shipwreck. Let's see what they have to say about him. Alternate names, N.A., year release, 1985, designed by Ron Rudat. Again, Ron Rudat designed most figures for the first 7 years. I like the fact that they have him shirtless. That would have been an interesting thing to get, like a vest or something where it could come off, because he's kind of shirtless in some of these photos. That's really interesting. Hey, good morning, Bobby World. Thanks for joining us today. I put an extra Shipwreck head I had on the 80th anniversary diver. Well, there you go. See, that makes sense, because there was a diver Shipwreck in the 90s. They did do a diver version of Shipwreck, O-ring. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. Let's see what Dan had to say about Shipwreck. Wearing a Dixie cup cap and a Navy service uniform with an insignia representing a petty officer first class, Shipwreck came with a pistol, boarding books with line with Line and a parrot, Polly. So he doesn't really talk that much about that design aspect of him. But yeah, he definitely looks like he's from the 40s or the 50s sailors. I don't know. I just it just bothers me. I don't think he represents the modern Navy. My brother was in the Navy, and he never looked like that. So that's something there. All right. So there you go. Then we're going to go to the vintage package. So we're going to go to Collecting the Art of G.I. Joe, Volume 2, 1984 to 1985, by Carson Metaxas and 3D Joes. So the original package for Shipwreck is right here. And he looks very much Hector Greedo style, but as a sailor. And I don't know. I like the character. I think he's a fun character, and he has a lot of interesting attributes and stuff. I just don't like his visual at all. Then he got his first appearance in G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, number 40 by Larry Hama. And this is when they were trying to stop Cobra from creating Cobra Island in the comics. And Candy Appel's father, who was a Crimson Guard, Dr. Appel, helped Cobra do some stuff in the Gulf of Mexico, and it created earthquakes or whatever, tremors, and Cobra Island was erupted or grew out of the water because of this water these eruptions or whatever. And so that is how Cobra Island was formed and created. And it's one of my favorite stories in the GI Joe comics, because it's one of the first times GI Joe loses and Cobra wins, and they get Cobra Island. So then let's get into the vintage figure. So I have almost all the accessories with this vintage Shipwreck. Let's see. I have his vintage figure with his little things, and he's a pretty tight looking figure. He's starting to turn a little bit yellow over the years. He's been doing pretty good. He's pretty tight, solid, sturdy, but he is starting to turn a little yellow, and he's getting a little wobbly, I guess, on his legs. And then he comes with this little wrap thing that he can wrap stuff with and get. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Then he comes with his trusty parrot, Polly. Polly, want a cracker? Polly wants a cracker. And then he has his musket. And because he's in the water or the ocean, he has a little wrap that goes around the musket. So he can hold on to it when he's doing stuff on boats, everything. So I have all the accessories for him. And so there you go. There's Shipwreck version 1. And you know my feelings on the visual of it. So he has a couple of tampos. He's got a little thing on his wrist. He's got a couple of holsters and stuff with pistols around his leg. So I'm guessing the vintage is going to have all that as well. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like Shipwreck? Is he one of your favorites? Does he stand out as a really good classified figure? What do you guys think? So we're going to get into this. You guys can tell me in the chat as I talk. So again, this is number 70, and let's go into the designations real quick. So the designations for Shipwreck are Environmental Specialist Water is the first one. Then there's the Bullets, which is light weapons. He has the Fist, which is, I believe, hand-to-hand combat. And then he has the no, not that one. Let's see. I don't see this next one. Let's some sort of like pilot, boat pilot or something like that, ocean pilot. But I don't think it's on here because I don't see that icon. It's sailor. I'm guessing sailor since he's a sailor. But like I said, I don't see that icon on my listings here. Yeah. So I'm guessing that last one is Sailor, but I don't have it. So there you go. Those are the listings for Shipwreck on there. So we get this cross sell here with all of his accessories and a little bit the fact that his sailor hat comes off and he can put poly on there, and then we have this little targeting cross sell artwork. And then we have this beautiful piece of artwork there. I really like that a lot. It makes you really think of Shipwreck in the comics and stuff. And then we have the figure photography by Shooting the Galaxy, Matt. So let's see. We have a bicycle back there. We have some rockets going off, torpedoes, but I don't see any sneaky characters or anything back there. And then we have the art. We have the weapons again. So that's your Shipwreck package. Let's get him out of here. See what we have. All right. So we have the Shipwreck crate, the weapons crate again, number 70, G.I. Joe. There you go. Put that over there. Put that down there. All right, so then we have figure in the box, and then we have another box up there. So that's the first time we've had another box like that. I guess because he's a little shorter, they wanted to fill the airspace, so it's an empty box. So we'll put that over there, and then we'll get this Shipwreck out of here. Again, so this is number 70. We started with Snake Eyes 00, and we're moving on up, and we're moving right along. We're number 70 now, and we're also doing the vintage package figures every 5 figures. So every rounded number, like a 0 or a 5, we're going to do another vintage package figure. And then when we get to 100, we're going to do the 60th anniversary and legacy at every 10 figures after that. So there you go. And so we have Shipwreck. There. And we have his package again, that artwork from the original package. And we're going to put all this stuff in here. There. And there's your Shipwreck. So right off the bat, he's basically a 1-for-1 representation of the vintage Shipwreck. So I'm guessing we'll never get a vintage package version of this because he is pretty much vintage right here. He's got a lot of tattoos. That's kind of new because this one didn't have tattoos. He has tampos on his shirt, one tampo on his shirt there that matches, but he does not have tattoos. So that is another new element to this Shipwreck. He has a sailor tattoo there. And he has some tattoos on that arm with that wristband that the vintage one has. And then he has a second tampo on that shoulder there. And that looks like some sort of a rank insignia, sailor rank insignia. So then his hat comes off with his hair, which that never was part of the original. So that's a new element. So that's good that they have 2 different head styles. He's also got a little bit of hair. Now that's a new element as well. He's got a little bit of hair in there. I don't know if you guys can see with this lighting, but there's some hair on his chest. So that's interesting that they added hair. Let's see what else. He does have actually a tattoo on this wrist. I didn't notice it until just now, but there is a tattoo tampo on the wrist over there. So there you go. So he does have one. So they just put it on the other hand. So he has a secondary belt with a musket holster and a hook there. And then he's got another holster on his right leg for a pistol there. He's got all the same articulation. He's got the new head articulation. He's got the butterfly shoulder. He's got the double pinned elbows, double pinned knees. He's got the wrist articulation. He does not have the secondary wrist. He does have the secondary thigh. He has the calf articulation. He's got the ab crunch there. He's got the waist articulation. He's got the crotch and leg articulation. He's got the foot rocker. He does not have the secondary ankle swivel. He only has the thigh swivel. So there you go. So he is lacking two of the articulation points that most of the figures have. But I think it's because of his uniform's a little bit bulkier and thicker. His clothes with the shirts and the pants and everything. So it's a little bit harder to do those articulation points. But he does have like a wash on his pants that makes it look like his pants are dirty. So it looks like he's been doing work in the Navy and out there doing what he's supposed to do. So he looks like a sailor. There's no doubt about it, 100%. So let's look into some of his accessories. So we got the weapons crate again. Says Shipwreck on there. Stars and Stripes, number 70. So doesn't feel like he's got a lot of accessories from what I can see with this bag. Very light. So we'll see what's in there. Another Cobra Joe package. See what we got. All right, so make sure we get everything out of there. We do. So let's see what Shipwreck comes with. He comes with his musket. The musket that the previous one had, except he has a little deco on that rope part that goes on his wrist, and black for the handle, and the gun itself is silver. It's really cool looking. It's definitely a better looking gun, so that's good. And then he has a anchor, so that's for the rope. So they did not give him regular rope. They gave him like a plastic rope, and it's got silver deco like an anchor should. And then he's got his second hair piece, which I'm going to take the sailor one off, and I'm going to put that one on because I think I prefer that. He looks less like a sailor and more like a shoreman or something with that hair. And he kind of looks like the actor that did the voice. Yeah, he looks better. I think he looks better like that. What do you guys think? You like him with his hair better than with his sailor hat? Kind of represents himself in the comic where he lost his hat at one point and he was trying to fight off the Cobras. So then we have another pistol. That pistol is going to go in his other holster. It looks like a PK7 type pistol, like an older pistol. So I'm going to put that in his holster on his right leg. There. All right. And I'm going to put the other musket in his musket holster on his left waist. There you go. And then he has the rope. Now the rope has a bit of a hook on it, so you can't hook the anchor on that, and that hooks onto here, I'm guessing, on the rope goes there like that, so he can do stuff with it. And then you put the anchor on that. So let me put the anchor on that, and then we'll put that on there. Let's see. There. So I got the anchor on there, and then we're going to put the rope on that secondary. There is a little doodad there, so maybe, I'm not sure what the doodad's supposed to be for. There's a little hole there for something. So there you go. There's your Shipwreck with his accessories. And then, of course, we have Polly. Now, they did not give Polly any movement, so he's very similar to the vintage Polly. He's almost the same size, which is very interesting. Very similar size to Polly. Um, yeah, actually, he's a little smaller than the vintage one. This one has a little bit more deco on it, has some blue and gray in the beak and around the head, has some texturing on the wings and the tail, and his feet has a little knob so you can place it onto something. Let's see where that goes. I'm guessing it goes onto this rope. So he sits in the rope like that, I'm guessing, because that's what that little knob looks like. It does. And then maybe he puts this like over his shoulder or something like that, and it kind of looks like he's carrying the rope on there and Polly's sitting on that. So there, kind of like that, like that. Oops, Polly came off. The rope came off too. It's because of the musket, I think, is the problem. The musket is in the way. So maybe if I do it on the other one, it won't be such a problem. Let's try that. There. All right, so I have it on there. I'm going to lift his arm up so it keeps it on there. There, like that. I'll put that arm back down. So there you go. There's a Shipwreck with Polly, all of his gear. The only thing he does not have on is his secondary head, hair, and hat, which I don't particularly care for. So there you go. Michael Gene Fleming. Let's see. The brown paper string they were using in some of the boxes during the time makes a nice rope for the grappling hook. Hey, that's a good idea. Thank you, Michael Gene Fleming. I never even thought of that. That's a good idea. This rope that comes with this kind of rope, you can put it on the grappling hook and you can use it that way. That's a good idea. I may do that. That's good customizing. I didn't know you were such a good customizer, Michael Gene Fleming. Bobby World. Is it supposed to go on him? Oh, maybe it does go across his chest. You could be right, Bobby World. Let's try it. So let's see if we can get that to go that way. Because yeah, I guess you would, so it won't fall off. I have it on his arm like that, but let's try it your way, and we'll see if we can get it to work. Because I also got Polly on there, so I want to make sure I don't knock Polly off. I may have to take Polly off in order to do that. All right, I'm going to take Polly off. Let's put Shipwreck's rope over there, like that, like you suggest. There. And again, this holster is in my way. But I think it works kind of better. I think you were right, Bobby. I'm going to put the Polly on there and see if I can get Polly to stay without too much difficulty. And there you go. You have Polly on the rope, on the shoulder. Let's see. Kind of like that. How's that? Do you like that better? Michael Gene Fleming. It's not original to me. I just saw the idea once and make sure to spread it around. Oh, thank you, Michael Gene Fleming, for that. I appreciate it. That's what this is for, so we can each help each other out and do interesting stuff. Because I'm sure someone else did this review years ago. Remember, we're doing these now this is probably 3 years later after Shipwreck. It's been like 3 years since he was released. Uh, but I like him. I think he looks very good like that. He looks a little bit more rugged, a little bit more street ready and stuff without the sailor hat. But I hope you guys like this figure. All right, it's definitely a little bit better than the vintage one. The coloring is a little different. The pants are a little bit more like jeans, and the shirt is a little bit more darker. So they changed the color palette a little bit so it looks more realistic for a shoreman of some sort, like a Navy shoreman. Whereas this one definitely looks like he's right out of the 40s sailor movies and things like that. He was just too bright for me. But nothing nothing wrong with if people like that. That's up to them. But I like this. It looks really good. Um, I think that's the way I'm going to put them on my shelf when I go to put them up on the shelf. Let's see if I can get them to stand up. Yeah, it stands pretty good. There you go. Shipwreck and Shipwreck. I'm hoping we get another Shipwreck. I think there's some room for multiple different Shipwrecks. So maybe we'll get the longshoreman, or maybe we'll get a diver Shipwreck or something in the future, because he's a big character, and I know a lot of people like him a lot. What do you guys think? You like this Shipwreck? Do you think they did a good job at this? Do you think they classified it up enough, or do you think it's too vintage inspired? Let me know in the chat. The next one we have coming up is going to be another vintage package figure. It's going to be another redeco, very, 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 very minor redeco for the vintage package of this character. I don't mind, because this is one of my all-time favorite troop builder characters. So hopefully that'll give you an idea of what is the next vintage package figure. And then we're going right on to 71. And you guys should know what all the 4 figures that came with Shipwreck in that wave, and now they've started doing them. Early on, they were just releasing them 3 here, 2 there, and then they went to a 5-figure model for a while, and that's where CoverGirl and Budo and a lot of the redecos were coming out. But something happened along the way, and they lost that 5-figure wave plan that they were going to do, because they made a big point in one of their pulse cons that they were going to do 5-figure waves. They're going to move it up, but it didn't work out, because then they started to go to the 4-figure waves, and Shipwreck is in the first 4-figure wave batch of figures. And if you know who's coming up, then you'll know who the next 2 or 3 figures after the vintage figure that I'm going to show next is. The vintage is not my favorite version, but this is an excellent rendition of the vintage version, and I quite like it. Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, Michael Gene Fleming. I'm not a fan of the vintage, but I think this is a nice upgrade to the vintage, but not like so close to the vintage. So I think that's why I think there is some room for updates on this. But there you go. So this one's a fairly short video. You guys got any questions? Anything you're looking forward to coming out? We've got New York Comic Con coming next week. I think LA Comic Con is coming up very shortly as well. And then we have MCM London, and then possibly 1027. I'm not sure about that, because there's a lot of speculation that that's been canceled, and we may not be getting that. But they're going to do a PulseCon at New York Comic Con. So what do you guys think? We're going to get any new reveals? Maybe the Fang? Do you think we're going to get some renders of Lifeline, Hit and Run, Big Lob, and that sort of stuff? What do you guys think we're going to get? Do you think they're going to make any new announcements for stuff coming next year? It should be an interesting Pulse event, because there's a lot going on right now, because they can't do it in their building, because they're closing the building down, because they're moving to Boston. So that's going to be something they won't be doing. They're going to be doing a lot of these live events at conventions instead. I'm looking forward to the Pythona. Yeah. Are you going to New York Comic Con? Because they're only selling those at New York Comic Con, LA Comic Con, MCM London, and some other event before they put it on PulseCon. So if you can get it at one of those events, I recommend you try to get it at one of those events. I'm not close to any of those events. I'm hoping that they bring it to MegaCon next year, which is in March. Last year was in February, and they came to MegaCon in February. So I'm kind of disappointed that it's in March because I would like to have gotten a Pythona at their event here in Florida. But I'm going to have to try to get it on PulseCon, and that's going to be difficult. I have a feeling they're going to be sold out. I hope they make a lot of them. I really, really, really do. I hope they make a lot of Pythonas because everybody wants Pythona. And speaking of Pythona and Big Lob, they just revealed the Super 7 next wave of figures on their website. Big Lob first, I won't say the first, but the most accurate O-ring version of that figure that has ever been released. The first version was a convention exclusive. It looked nothing like Big Lob. It was terrible. And then they did the 4-inch one. So now that's our first Big Lob 4-inch O-ring scale class figure that's legitimately accurate. And Pythona, first ever O-ring scale figure we've ever gotten for Pythona, to go with our Once a Man Cobra Commander, which is the very first O-ring version we got of him. There have been fan versions of these, different people have done over the years, but never Hasbro. This is the first official 4-inch O-ring style figure, or 3 3/4, I should say, Pythona ever released. So there was a 4-inch version of her as the FSS figure in the club, the mid 2000s. So, and then we also got a Arctic Snake Eyes and an Arctic Destro, which look really, really cool. So if you guys have a chance, go on there. If you're Super 7 collectors, get those because they're really good. I try to get all Super 7 figures. I'm a bit behind at the moment, but I will get them eventually. So that is all that is going on for the time being. I should be doing a video sometime this week for Renegade Game Virtual Con, and I will be showing off a whole bunch of new Renegade Game stuff in that video. Stay tuned for that. And then I think that is everything. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for getting involved and contributing to the chat. Thank you, everybody, after the fact, asking questions and getting involved on the chat after the fact. I really appreciate it. And it makes this channel grow and helps us. We're still trying to get to that 150 mark. We're really, really close. We only need, like, I think, 8 or 9 more to get to 50 so we can do that next video for that Street Fighter opening. I'm going to let you guys pick between 4 different Street Fighters who you would like to open in that next one, and then we can do a top 10 in that video as well. So share, like, subscribe, and hit that notification so we can get you guys on all these videos and asking questions and getting involved and contributing like you did today. Thank you. And this is a Yo Joe video. So Yo Joe. Thank you. We'll see you next time.